Hey guys, Luke here, and it's final times for the 2020 NRL season. The regular season is over. The Panthers got the minor premiership. Broncos got the wooden spoon. Now, I was originally going to do a video sort of talking about just the season in general, but I figure I'll just save that for the rest of the season, or for when the season's over, I should say. And when the finals are done, and we can talk about whether the Panthers were able to go on with it, or whether the Roosters were able to rise up, or even if there was like a team like the Sharks or something who came from nowhere and ended up winning the comp. So I thought it'd be funner to do just a full season review rather than just talk about the regular season, especially considering how weird of a year it's been. So instead of a season review video, this one is going to be a finals predictor, as you can tell probably by the title. So we're doing the 2020 NRL ladder predictor. We're going onto my phone, and you can just choose and pick your scores or something like that. And you can do it with the finals. You can do it throughout the regular season as well, but purely for this video, I'm just going to be doing the finals. I mean, that's all you can do now. So I've done them in the past. I think I did it last year, and I feel like some of my more popular videos on the channel are my prediction videos. So therefore, we're going to be doing a finals prediction video. So as you can see right now, I've got it all loaded up on my screen. We have the ladder predictor. I don't know how long this is going to take me. It could be short, it could be long. I don't really know. But you can see here, Panthers up against Roosters, Raiders up against the Sharks, Storm and Eels, Rabbitohs and the Knights. So we've got 4 games. It looks like we can pick. I suppose it doesn't matter how much they win by, considering it's not like a table. Speaking of the table, you can see it on the screen there. That's how they actually finished. It went Panthers, Storm, Eels, Roosters, Raiders, Rabbitohs, Knights and the Sharks. Even in terms of the other ones, you can see points-wise, Titans are pretty close, Warriors pretty close. It's not like that there was some total standouts apart from probably the top two. The rest of them all could have been very close. I mean, Raiders ended up on the same points as the Roosters, so Raiders unlucky to miss out. Rabbitohs were in amongst it at times, but yeah, just in terms of the actual top 4, I feel like the Storm and the Panthers were so much further ahead than everyone, and the only ones who could really win the minor premiership, and even then, Panthers, they lost 1 game all season. Anyways, enough rambling. Let's start doing these predictions. So the first game is on Friday, 7:50 p.m. It's at Panthers Stadium, so a home game for the Panthers. We have Panthers and Roosters. I mean, Roosters got absolutely demolished last week, so that's, in a sense, I feel like it takes that invincibility out of the Roosters. I feel like every year, or for the last couple of years, we've gotten into the finals going, wow, Roosters, they'll at least step it up. And now it's more like, well, I hope they bounce back from last week. So, look, maybe if they were playing any of the other sides, I would still pick them. But just because it's the Panthers are so bloody good. They've been so good this year. Honestly, even now, like early into the finals video, it's hard to sit there and say Panthers won't win this whole comp. So I'm going to go Panthers. However, I do think whoever wins this game, I think they might end up winning the premiership. Now, Roosters are definitely capable of winning this game, but I think Panthers are the favourites for good reason. I mean, like I said, they've lost 1 game all season. I think it'd be crazy to say they won't win this game. However, especially just after last week. However, there is generally a big hit back when teams get beat by as much as what the Roosters did. So definitely wouldn't be shocked if the Roosters ended up picking up the victory, even coming out and putting a bit of a beat down on the Panthers, especially, it's a finals game. They've got lots of finals experience. But early on into the finals, I can see these first games where the pressure's still not real. It is there, but this isn't a knockout game. I can see the Panthers, I can see them putting a bit of a beat down on the Roosters, as opposed to the Roosters doing it. I can see Panthers sort of demolishing them, maybe not by 50 points like the Rabbitohs did last week to the Roosters, but I can see them, sort of running away with it. But who knows? It could be a very close one. We'll do points here. Oh, you can do, let's go 12 points. It's probably about right. We'll leave it at 12 points there. Moving on to the second game, we have Raiders up against Sharks. Now, this is a very interesting one because we all know what the Raiders are capable of. They made the grand final last year. It is a bit of a different side to last year. Obviously, you got a different halves pairing. Hodgson, is he back yet? I don't think he is. They've got Starling there. Look, it's not... actually, Hodgson is back, I think. Anyways, look, it's a different side. No Leilua. That's my point. It isn't the same side as last season. However, that might not necessarily be a bad thing. I feel like they didn't get the top 4 finish, which is... Honestly, I feel like you probably need a top 4 finish to win the comp. I think it's kind of... Your stats back me up with that one. I don't think it's happened in the NRL anyways. They've got to the grand final, but they haven't actually won the premiership. And I feel like Sharks, I'll be honest, I think they're just making up the numbers here. So I think the Raiders will be motivated. Based off last year, they're back where they wanted to be. They're in the finals. They're just not in the position they wanted. So they know what they've got to do. They've got to win all these games. It's a knockout game, this one. So there's no coming back from this one. So I can see the Raiders winning this one quite comfortably. I actually don't think this will be a low. I don't think it'll be like a low-scoring game. I feel like the Raiders will they'll absolutely pump the Sharks. I know the Sharks, once again, they're a team that's capable, but probably not capable without Sean Johnson, and he's not going to be there. Look, the Sharks are a solid side, but I don't think they're going to beat the Raiders. Raiders are probably the definition of solid this year. Just a very solid side. No super real weaknesses. And the Sharks, yeah, they're missing some notable players. So it makes sense if the Raiders win this one. You know, I'm not even going to bother with points. I'll just talk you through it. So the next game is the Storm up against the Eels. So Storm in second up against the Eels in third. It is sort of shocking when you look at games played and when you actually watch the Eels play. It is surprising to see that they're actually in third position. They definitely don't play like a team who's in third position. I feel like, not that they've had an easy draw, but it's just because it's been such a weird season. I mean, some teams didn't make top 4, but it's crazy that they still finished above the Raiders and the Roosters. I think it definitely helps that they had a great start to the season. We're in first position for good parts of the year and just fallen off in the second half of the season. But I even say fallen off, they were still winning games. It's just they weren't talent up teams like they were at points in the season. But the Storm, they're just so consistent. I think they're basically at full strength at this point. They've been resting players, and you know, Cameron Smith was injured, but he's back now. I feel like they'll be rejuvenated. They rested everyone last week. I can see Storm just being raring to go. That's where Storm kind of scare you this year because we know they're finals hardened, which is where the Panthers aren't. So we know Storm, they've played brilliant this season, and it just could get even worse for the rest of the teams in the top 8 as the finals go on, and as the experience shows of your Munsters and your Cameron Smiths and the likes of them. So I'm going to go Melbourne Storm for this one. I think I'm pretty comfortable in saying that. I think they'll beat the Eels. Eels, they can pull it off, definitely, but I feel like any of these teams can pull it off. It's just a matter of are they going to put it all together, and I just can't see the Eels doing it. Now moving on to the last game of Finals Week 1, we have the Rabbitohs in 6th up against the Knights in 7th. This is an interesting one because I feel like the Knights on paper are, once again, just making up the numbers. I feel kind of everything I kind of said about the Sharks, I feel like can apply to the Knights as well. Even last week, just I can't get a read on this Knights side. Just it feels like they're a side that should be a lot better than what they are, and they just aren't. Maybe Kalen Ponga is going to step up in the finals. I don't think he's really had an opportunity to play finals, especially at the Knights. They haven't made it since he's been there. But you guys like Clemmer and Ponga, I'd love to see them step up, and I'd love to say that they're going to step up and beat the Rabbitohs, but I just can't see it happening, especially with the confidence and with how the Rabbitohs are playing. If any team out of the top 4 was going to go on a big run and maybe win the comp, I can definitely see it being the Rabbitohs. They're just playing with so much confidence. In particular, Cody Walker and Adam Reynolds has been very, very good as well. Just, yeah, the Rabbitohs, I think they're going to be quite dangerous in this final series, but hey, they wouldn't be the first side who's gone into the final strong and ended up being a one and done and getting eliminated. But I think the smart money, I mean, you look at Sportsbet odds, $1.33 to $3.40. I think that's pretty good odds for the Rabbitohs. I don't think it's as close as what the odds make it out to be. I mean, considering the Storm were $1.18, Eels $5, I feel like the Rabbitohs, they just literally put 60 points on the Roosters, who were fairly strong. It wasn't like they turned up and they weren't trying. They scored the first try, and then they scored a second try. A lot of their main players were playing Tedesco, Kiri, Morris boys, and that sort of stuff. I just can't see the Rabbitohs losing this one. I think they're just way too strong for the Knights. So I'm going to go with that for Finals Week 1. There you go, Knights and Sharks. I'm eliminating them. And we'll move on to Week 2. So Week 2, we have the Roosters up against the Raiders. Obviously no odds because this isn't actually a real game at the moment. It could be though. So the Roosters, I had them losing in the first week and the Raiders winning as to how they got this matchup. And it's also a grand final rematch. I think that'd be very, very interesting. Obviously this is an elimination match, so there's no chance of this actually being the grand final according to my finals predictions. But I don't know, are the Raiders going to get revenge? Can they get revenge? They definitely can. The Roosters, are they just lacking that little bit of hunger? I feel like it all comes down to how the game's played. I mean, if the Raiders come out and flog the Sharks like I think they do. I feel like they go into this game very, very confident. And I feel like in general, they feel a lot of confidence up against the Roosters, even when a lot of teams weren't. It didn't appear to be that confident up against the Roosters. Like I was saying before, the Roosters had that little bit of invincibility, especially when it came to the finals time. And I feel like the Raiders, they just didn't have that, especially because they got so close last year. I think they definitely know they can beat the Roosters. And the Roosters might be feeling it a little bit, especially after that loss to the Rabbitohs. I'm predicting them to lose against the Panthers. That's 2 in a row. Roosters don't generally lose 3 in a row, but hey, is their confidence gonna cop a bit of a hit? Surely something has to give after that game last week. Either they're gonna come out and just flog teams, or they're just gonna go to shit. But I will say, it just feels weird for me to say Roosters getting eliminated finals week 2. So I think for that reason, I'm gonna. Do I go Roosters? I'm going to go the Roosters. I'm going to go the Roosters because I feel like the Raiders have been good. Like I said, they're a solid team. They're not exceptional, at least this year. I can't really see them winning the premiership at this point, especially now. I think I've sat here in the past and I've said I think the Raiders can do it. But just now that I look at all this, I can't see them getting past the Roosters here if this is the game that happens. So I will go the Roosters for this one. Moving on to the next game, we have Eels and Rabbitohs. So I had the Eels losing to the Storm, which is a pretty respectable loss, especially against the Storm in the finals. The Rabbitohs, I had them beating the Knights, which, the Knights aren't terrible, but they're also a team that lost to the Bulldogs this year. So very hot and cold, very hot and cold. Knights could come out and kill it, or they could absolutely shit the bed, and Rabbitohs could towel them up, and it's a pretty easy game for them, which I suppose to an extent you kind of want in the finals, but at the same time you don't want it to be too grueling, but you don't want it to be too easy. You don't want to sort of relax too much and then go into your next game and then have to sort of ramp up the intensity again. The Eels, I feel like definitely are capable of getting eliminated here. I'd love to see it again because the Eels have been, they've been in the top 4 the whole season. I thought they looked to be a bit of a premiership force at times, but they're definitely falling away, and the Rabbitohs are getting stronger and stronger. Even with Nrl Mitchell gone, I can see the Rabbitohs just beating the Eels. And once again, finals experience. Eels don't have a lot of it as well. Panthers and Eels are probably 2 of the most inexperienced finals teams. Probably, I don't know if stats back me up on that, but in terms of the top teams, I feel like very inexperienced in terms of finals. Maybe they've played in like a finals week 1 or something, but in terms of making a deep run, I can't really recall any of them. Whereas the Rabbitohs, you got your Adam Reynolds who's won a premiership, and guys who have played big games. They might not have played premierships, but they've played for New South Wales, Cameron Murray's and Damien Cook and the likes of them. Eels don't even have that. They got Michael Jennings and Canberra Gillard, that's about it. Your Mitchell Moses, Dylan Browns and stuff, still relatively unproven in big moments. So for that, I'm gonna go the Rabbitohs. I can see the Rabbitohs doing it. Maybe the Eels' inexperience will be okay for them because they're not going to be thinking about it all the time. But I can see the Rabbitohs, Adam Reynolds, Cody Walker, I can just see them getting them going. Damien Cook, the forwards are going pretty well at the moment. Yeah, I really rate this Rabbitohs side at the moment. Obviously, there is some recency bias. I mean, I just saw them lose to I used the Knights losing to the Bulldogs as a bit of a reason why I don't think they're that good. The Bulldogs did beat the Rabbitohs pretty full strength, but maybe that was just maybe that was a Wayne Bennett thing. He wanted Broncos to come last. Who knows? But that's who I'm going with. Roosters, Rabbitohs, moving on to finals week 3. So now on to the preliminary finals. We have the Panthers and the Rabbitohs. We also have the Storm and the Roosters. Now, Rabbitohs for a long time were kind of a force. They were, top 4 every year. I also got that premiership in 2014, but it's been a little while since I really thought they could win a premiership. And I don't know if that's the year, if this is the year. Going up against the Panthers, it's just the Panthers have been so good this season. And the Rabbitohs, like I said, have a bit of recency bias. They've been good as of late. And as soon as Nrl Mitchell went down, I thought they were done for. However, just last week really changed it for me. Just the fact that they did it to the Roosters, it's just like, wow. And Cody Walker's been so good, and so has Reynolds and all their players. I just keep repeating that. They've been so good, but they have that. That's the fact. They have been so good, but the Panthers have been even better. Panthers, 1 loss all year, and I've predicted them to beat the Roosters too. So I can't go past the Panthers here. I've got to go Panthers. Just as good as the Rabbitohs have been as of late, Panthers have been even better. They haven't been losing. They've got that win. There's just that winner's mentality, which the Rabbitohs might have been finding like I said, they've got a lot of finals experience. Maybe Panthers will choke. I feel like if there's any place they will choke, though, it would be the grand final, which I predicted them to make. Prelim finals, we've seen a lot of teams who have been good throughout the season be able to get to the grand final. It's just a matter of whether they convert that. So I'm going to go with the Panthers. Next up, we have the Storm and the Roosters. Grand final game from a few years ago. We had the Raiders and the Roosters earlier. Now we've got the Storm and the Roosters. So Roosters, I had them winning their previous grand final rematch. I don't have them winning this one. I think I'm going to go the Storm. I feel like the Roosters will kind of just... I feel like the Storm will just be so confident and just be that much of a force at this point that the Roosters can still be good, and I can't see them winning. And also the fact that like Cooper Cronk's not there. I know Luke Keary has done it a lot by himself, but just that confidence around the other players. I wonder if a few losses, even though I've predicted them to win the previous week, I wonder if just that, like I said, that invincibility they had in the finals of, yep, they're definitely going to win. I just wonder if it will be gone by then, and the Storm will just be able to capitalise on that. And look, Addo-Carr, look, is it Cameron Smith's last year? It could be. It could be. I imagine if they won a premiership, I could see him retiring. But yeah, Melbourne Storm, I'm just going to have to go them. Look, Roosters definitely are capable. I've said it countless times. I had them in my tier video. I had them as the best overall team. But just, yeah, last week just killed that aura. They just killed that aura for them, and I just can't get past it. So therefore, I'm picking the Storm to make the grand final. So we've got Panthers and we've got the Storm. So first, second. Overall, what? We had 20 games. 18 wins for Panthers and 16 wins for the Storm. And also, Panthers had a draw. Remember, it was against the Warriors. Ruined my multi, but let's just not talk about that. Panthers up against Storm in the grand final. Panthers best team all year by quite a distance. Storm, though, are very, very competitive with them. I'm not sure how they went in previous games when they played. Actually, let me look it up. Did they... Well, obviously, they must have got the win if... I think Eels were the only team to beat Panthers, so... They must have beat the Storm then. It's just a matter of, do I think Panthers will be able to handle the pressure of a grand final up against your Cameron Smiths and Cameron Munsters and even guys like Addo-Carr and all those guys who have played, Vunivalu's, the Melbourne forward pack is pretty much the same, Finucanes and the Bromwich boys. It's a very, very strong forward pack. Panthers very strong as well, but just the fact that they don't have the experience, it does worry me for the Panthers, but... It's just so hard to go past the Panthers because of how good they've been. And it's not like they've just put it together for a few weeks or something and then they've been scrapping it, kind of like the Eels were. Like, they've done it the whole season. They've been toweling up teams. And every sort of formidable side that you thought, wow, this is going to be a real test for them, they went out and done it. And they've beat some very, very strong teams. Obviously, the comp isn't the same as previous years. I don't know if they played every strong team twice or anything like that. But facts are facts. Panthers are in first position. And they're in first position for a reason, especially this season. And look, I've got them on they're on an 18-game win streak here. And then you add in the games for the finals. Actually, it might be like an 18-game win streak by the time the grand final comes around. I think it's going to be 19 as well. I think the Panthers will do the Storm. Look, I feel like the Storm looking for that Cameron Smith fairy tale finish. I mean, they haven't announced anything in terms of him re-signing or playing on to next year. And I feel like they're waiting to see if they maybe win the grand final or see how they just go in the final series. But yeah, Panthers, I can see that little bit of... I feel like they've kind of got that invincibility that I feel like the Roosters had. I feel like they'll go into the final series and you would expect them to sort of be overawed by the occasion, but I feel like they'll come out and I feel like they might be even more motivated. Like, they haven't had any sort of significant amount of fans all season, and I feel like this is when teams, like, they're going to go from having like no crowds and that to having thousands and thousands of people behind them. More than would be at their home games, especially if it's if Melbourne make the grand final. I mean, the borders are still pretty iffy. I can't see them being that many Melbourne Storm fans, so I think there's going to be a lot of Penny Panthers fans there, and I feel like that will get them home. So yeah, I can just see the Panthers, I can just see them riding that wave of momentum. The fans are behind them, fans going crazy. Penrith, well, obviously it's not going to be in Penrith, but I think they're going to have majority of the support up against the Storm. The only thing is, if a team was able to be the villains, I feel like it's the Storm. They've been there so many times, Cameron Smith in particular. I feel like every time he's there, they're always the bad guys, they're always the outsiders, they're always coming from Melbourne, usually up against a Sydney sort of side. I don't even think they've played a Queensland side. I think it's all been New South Wales side, so they've always sort of by default been the villains. I remember them up against the Bulldogs. Bulldogs had a really strong fan base, and they came out and they ambushed the Bulldogs. They shut down Barber. They come up with great game plans. I feel like if someone can do that, it'd be Craig Bellamy, it'd be Cameron Smith, and I think they'll sit down and they'll work out the Panthers. It's just a matter of whether they can actually execute it with the players they got in the park, and maybe Panthers are good enough to adapt to it. So yeah, Cameron Smith, I think he'll happily be the villain here. He's done it many times. He'll be looking to go out a champion. So if he gets a premiership, don't be surprised if he retires. And who knows, he may have already announced his retirement to the fellas, and they're just keeping quiet. And therefore, they're going to be playing with a lot more fire than what they might usually do. But a lot of the time, whoever's retiring in a grand final and has announced that, they generally don't come up the victors. You think back to Brad Fittler. I think Justin Hodges was a recent one. Obviously, Cooper Cronk got the job done, but bloody hell, I could have played halfback for the Roosters when they won. In fact, he did it with a bloody busted arm. So, well, actually, that was the year before. But yeah, you get my point. Just because they're retiring doesn't mean they're going to automatically go out and win for them. But I mean, Cameron Smith he's on a whole nother level. Could be the best player ever. So yeah, it is a bit of a different one to some of the other ones I mentioned. But yeah, I think the Storm will happily be the villains in this one. They'll play up to it, and I think they could upset the Panthers. I don't even know if it's an upset at this point, but look, Panthers, I think they've just been so strong throughout the rest of the season. I've got to go with them. So you heard it here first. Penrith Panthers to win the 2020 NRL Premiership. Anyway, guys, those are my finals predictions. I'd love to see yours. Leave in the comment section below who have you got to win the premiership, and even go through game by game, just like I did, and pick your winners. Actually, even before you do your predictions, make sure you go ahead and leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. It is very much appreciated if you do that. Especially at this point, there's going to be a lot more people watching the videos now, so if you can leave a like, it means a lot to me. And also, if you can subscribe, make sure you turn on the notification bell. It's very important to let you know when I upload, rather than just letting YouTube hopefully we'll let them hit your inbox, or your subscription box, I should say, because apparently it doesn't happen that often. Also, while you're at it, guys, you may as well go ahead and give me a follow on social media. It's on the screen right now. The only one that's not there is my Snapchat, which also happens to be Mr. Logan YT, is what's on the screen right now. In fact, I don't really post too much on Twitter and Facebook, but just in case I post, you don't want to miss it. Well, guys, that's all I've got to say. That has been my 2020 NRL Finals prediction video. Some of my other predictions have been absolutely woeful. Maybe this will be another one. I suppose it will be quite entertaining looking back on it if it is quite shit. But hey, who knows? I might have it spot on. So if it's spot on, it's going to be a Panthers Storm grand final. Panthers becoming the victors. Let's pick a scoreline. What are we going to do? Maybe 18-8. There you go. 18-8. Panthers win. That's from the end of the video, guys. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.